Okay, let's see now. It is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day to those who are celebrating it. I understand that it's a big holiday over in the UK as well. So, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Um, what is that saying? Oh, yeah. All right. Allow. Oh, and what is that over there? Is that Bitcoin at $4,400? Oh my God, is that? Oh, and it looks like it's in a big bear flag. What could that mean? Big bear flag. After such a drop, couldn't be. So today's show is titled Black Friday, Red Market, and Bitcoin Blues. So that would be black and blue and red all over. Yes, we know that old joke. What's black and blue and red all over? Of course, most of you millennials wouldn't have a clue because you don't know what a newspaper is. Probably never held one in your hands. That's okay. Oh, let's see here. So I can say one thing, that the artificial intelligence setups, the AI setups, the embodiment, that's the service, the futures and Forex and stocks and ETF service that I am part of, as well as my partner, that can be found on traderofutures.com, has had some big winners. Now, we have some people within our that have signed up for the service that are having a hard time because they're obviously not. They don't understand the concept of risk management or position sizing, I believe, or maybe they're just getting a little bit too aggressive. And they called this one of our bigger winners a big loss, which just turned out to be a big winner. So need to do something about that. Need to do some videos on risk management. Because if you were following our strategy and following the alerts, 80% of them turn out to be winners. Now, some of them draw down. And see, here's the problem, that most people are stuck into this philosophy of risk management that you have to assign about a 2% risk to every trade, which is ludicrous. It is absolutely ludicrous. And there's a lot of ways that you can mitigate risk. Now, there are some contracts that we trade that have incredible volatility and high margin requirements, like EMD, which is the S&P. It's a full contract, the S&P 400. That's for the mid-cap futures contract. And admittedly, if you just have one contract on that, it would have brought you down about $2,000 at one point. But now it's up about $2,500, and I expect it to go even further. And it's the same thing with contracts like home heating oil, another big mover, or natural gas, the energy. And oil will do it every once in a while. But with nat gas and oil, there are micro contracts, and most of the currencies, which also can be big movers, also have micro contracts. Metals have micro contracts that you could be investing in that have significantly less risk if you have a smaller account. Now, if you have a bigger account, it's no problem. But if you're trying to set a 2% risk to each one of your trades, you're a friggin' fool. Because you will be a guaranteed loser. The secret to this system is its non-correlated strategies and time stops. So we give it a time window of 4 days. And if it doesn't work out within that period of time, you cut out of that trade. Of course, every trade you should have a catastrophic loss, which should be way bigger than that 2% per trade crap. You look at that from a portfolio perspective. If you have a small portfolio, maybe your ultimate stop is 10% because you have to have it relative to the size of the account. If you have a very big portfolio, it might be 2 or 3%, like $1 million portfolio. That would make sense. But to make every trade have a 2% risk attached to it is crazy. How many times has a trade drawn down only to then have reversed after you, and then you get out because you couldn't take the heat anymore, only to reverse and turn into a big winner? And you're sitting there like a deer in the headlights saying, damn, if I had only stayed in. That happens more often than you can possibly imagine to most traders. And it's the reason why they lose. Or they'll do something stupid, even more stupid, like they'll overcommit. They'll say, well, this service has a great win rate, so instead of buying one contract, I got to buy 10. Again, stupid, dumb. I just don't understand it. All right, so we have a couple of comments from a dissenter. Always late. What are you talking about? Always late. 4 minutes is late. You can't hang on. Are you going to be Casper? Are you going to be a habitual complainer? If you are, then I'd just say fuck off. I don't need you. Ernie's ego has been getting the better of him lately. I admit I have an ego. Probably well deserved. Smartest guy in the room. Trying to trigger you, by the way. Whoopie-doo, you call an easy crash BTC down. Oh, if it was so easy, then why didn't you call it? Ernie, a genius? No, BTC down, easy call. Ernie, ego head low. Well, at least according to modern standards, psychological test standards, I am a genius. I can't help that. From book smarts or testing, that sort of thing. You test me and I come out as a genius. That doesn't mean that somehow I know more than everybody else. Probably means that I have a better ability to analyze a situation than most. I'm not, you want me to hide that or be modest? Would that make you feel better, Casper? All right. Luke says, Ernie taking a mad size hit before the stream. Mellow. No, I very rarely smoke. Might do a little tincture. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a CBD tincture right here. Right now. That will mellow me out. Gotta let it sit under the tongue for a little bit, so please excuse the odd way that I'm talking. Bring the microphone a little closer here. Gotta let it seep into the bloodstream. CBD, good for you. CBD cures cancer, by the way. Let's sit in there. This is in a glycol propylene base. You can also put it in an alcohol base. I mean, that's how some people do it, but that kind of burns sometimes. And some people, it kind of tastes like ass, It really does. But it makes you feel so good. I can already feel it surging in my brain, taking away this headache. Bring me to a level of calm and serene. Awesome. All right, so boast more about how you'll charge your already minimum viewers more as soon as you choose. Promote your AI, then will charge more as he chooses another person for himself in this space. Yeah, I believe in helping myself, that's for sure. But, you're part right. Anybody that gets involved in the AI now, I'm not saying when we're going to increase the price, but it is, once there's enough social proof, there are going to be people coming in at $99 a month. They will be grandfathered and locked into that price at some time in the future. Once I we get enough people in, yes, that price is going to go up dramatically. It's easily a $300, $400, $500 a month service. But right now, it's $99 a month. That's what it is. One trade easily pays for a year, 2 years, 3 years of the service. I'm not saying every trade. However, 80% of them do reach or are profitable. And of those, I would say that 60 to 70% of them do reach their target. Many go well beyond their target. Right now, on average, we're about 200 to 300% of the targets that we choose. So yeah, it's a good service. And I have an ego because I have something to have an ego about. No fault in that. And if you can't take it, and if you're triggered by it, I would say simply don't watch. Just go away. I don't really care. I'll just skip over all of your comments. But right now, I'm giving you that due. AI making me rich. No, I'm not saying it's making me rich. It's an experiment. I trade it with my customers' money. I trade it my own money. We have our small number of customers that are subscribers to the service, not looking to be rich off of this service. I have multiple things. I have other businesses that make me a lot of money. AI is one of those, another stream of income for us where we develop a passive income base. And in the meantime, we help other people with a really, truly valuable service. That's what it's there for. For those people who think that, oh, why don't you keep it for yourself and make billions? Obviously know nothing about business. Let's see. Here we are. Chuck. Ernie, how many crypto sheep did Max Kaiser lead to slaughter? That's a very good point. Max Kaiser. Did you know that he had his own coin there for a while called the Max coin? What happened to that? Where is Max now? Where is he talking and bestowing the virtues of Bitcoin now that it's around $4,400? And what did I tell you? I targeted 4,200. It actually went a little bit beyond that. At first, it came down, hit 4,200, came back up, came back down to 4,000. Boom. I'm telling you, it's going below 4,000. Bitcoin is going below $4,000. I think that it will hit 1,000. At which point, I think it's going to be a worthwhile small investment. Small, I said. Like, why would you take risk on something like that? How you doing, Edwin? Wow, just noticed the big dip in Bitcoin. How low can she go? Very low. Very low. And Casper is triggered. I think he went away, too. Crypto Shill, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Well, thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving to you, Crypto Shill, and everybody else out there that's watching. I hope you do have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Makes this a very shortened week, followed up by the biggest shopping day of the year. Actually, I don't believe it's the biggest shopping day. I think the next Monday. Is that it? Or isn't it like right after Christmas is also one of the biggest shopping days? But we will here at Trader of Futures have our own Black Friday sale. And you're hearing it from me now. I will be publicizing it and publishing it very soon. And, today. Black Friday sale, which will go on to Cyber Monday because that's the tradition for people who are doing online stuff. But Black Friday sale is you buy half a year of the AI setups. Instead of paying $600, you pay $500. You buy a full year. Instead of paying $1,200, you get it for $1,000 or just under $1,000, like $999 or something like that. And that's the deal. Pretty good deal. So you get 1 month free with 6 months, 2 months free. And on top of that, you're locking in that price forever. Ever. Never have to pay more than that per month. And as I said, very soon, once I get up to, I don't know, 100, 125 subscribers, that's when the price goes way up. Then I feel I'll have enough generated income from that business to then do some serious marketing, and then to bring in, what our goal is to bring in about 200 subscribers and then cap it right there. So half of you will get it at a substantial discount and always be locked into that price. The other half will pay for what it's actually worth, or at least what the perceived value of that is. Do I think Bitcoin will go above 5K before the new year? Aris asks. Charlie Lee, who predicts that it will, he's cut his forecast for the end of the year to be $15,000 for Bitcoin. What a friggin', I'm not going to say fool. He's out there to manipulate all these unsuspecting people. Crypto Bobby was out there saying, you didn't lose anything as long as you keep holding that. Just hodl, and you are not a loser. Even though you've taken your $10,000 and brought it down to about $1,800, you're not a loser. No. You're not a loser until you sell it, says Crypto Bobby. And of course, Charlie Lee, the biggest shill of all time, who cashed out at the very peak of Bitcoin and Litecoin's price, saying that he's doing it for altruistic reasons. What a fucking liar. And then trying to make you believe that he is your friend and the man of the people. Just unbelievable. All this hater bring out the best shows, Ernie, just knocks it out of the park. Well, thank you very much. And Corvig, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I'll have to, wait, let me just make this a little bit bigger so I can see all the comments. I have a big screen, but it's sitting back a bit. Right there. What do you think about Ray Dalio's comments that we are in an economic state similar to the late 1930s? Look, I'm not going to second guess a guy like him. I mean, he's a billionaire. I mean, who am I to say anything against the billionaire's prognostications? I simply don't have the cred to match up against his. I do think he's a fucking idiot. But there is nothing similar to the 1930s. Nothing. So, you know, I guess I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth there. The Watcher, how you doing, man? Are my comments getting through to you, Ern? Yeah, they are. See, the problem is that I've got a lot of comments, and I'm sitting here. I really do try to go through every single one of them. I do. But it's not always possible. Everett Baptiste. Hi, Ernie. Laughing out loud. I don't know why that's funny. Oh, what an enthusiasm already. Wow, good to hear from you. You are already packing your stock bags. How do I answer that? Packing my stock bags. Not sure. Maybe that's kind of like your stocks and stockings, and not sure exactly how to answer that. Max, I'm confusing. The Watcher says Max, and I'm assuming he's referring to Max Kaiser. Also had Start Coin, another pile of shit. Yeah, like I said, he had the Max coin. Max Kaiser on RT, still preaching the Bitcoin mantra. Yeah, well, he's got nothing to lose. Over the years, I've seen many services exit after huge loss on signals. That's why I'm asking. Oh, what were you asking? I have to look. No, I do. Keston, where did you ask that, Keston? AI Master. Well, we've been using the system now for 4 years, and we wouldn't have brought it out unless we were very comfortable with it. And it's been very profitable for over 4 years. Now, granted, the system has evolved and learned and changed, but it's essentially the same concept. And it continues to improve and continues to win. Now, what we have noticed is that there have been times where there have been drawdowns. There was one time where we had a period of about 3 weeks where there were bad calls. But that's, 3 weeks out of almost 50 weeks. So, nothing is perfect. I think the strategy is absolutely sound, and that is multiple non-correlated strategies. And what I mean by that is the AI literally has millions of strategies that it tests against 20 years of data and looks for a statistical advantage. It is constantly then filtering out and sorting and bubbling to the top those things that are showing a better than 80% profitability with a 70% probability that it will hit a particular target. And those targets typically are about 50 to 100% of the capital put in play. And we have noticed also, at least since we've started, that approximately of those trades that we've put out, almost all of them have been winners. Some of them don't just hit their targets, but they're hitting 200, 300, 400, 500% of the target. Problem is that it is very different than what most people are used to. Most people are used to the broker narrative way of trading, which is a guaranteed loser, and that's setting stops in all your trades. There's no need to set stops here. We're trading like a hedge fund would trade, where we have multiple strategies and they tend to hedge each other. Non-correlated strategies tend to hedge each other. We have a time-based stop and an ultimate catastrophic stop. That's all you need. That way you give the trades room to breathe and work their way out. Now, what we've done also, the system also looks at a finite window, a time-based window. And so you can use that as one of your stops, and that's what we do. If it reaches its target before it reaches that time base, a lot of times we'll get out, depending on the momentum. Let's see, I'm going to read some more here. Luke says, what do you think of the launch of Backed in 2019? I've covered that. Bullshit. Anything to deal with crypto basically is bullshit. Did you watch Crypto Investor's new video? Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't realize he was back on. He had taken a respite, a hiatus. Edwin, fun being on these live shows, more personal involvement. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. You know, when you go to one of my videos that have been published on YouTube and you put a comment there, I read all the comments. I don't care if there's 10 comments or 1,000 comments. I go through every single one. I haven't gotten a video with 1,000 comments lately. On my old channel, the one that was deleted that had tens of thousands of subscribers, yeah, I used to regularly get 100, 200, 500 comments, and I would read every single one and try to reply to a lot of them if I could. So I think that that's important, to connect with people, understand them, talk back. Philip Walton of Volsberg. Oh, that's a lofty name. Ernie, well, what are your general thoughts on the stock market? Is the current dip worth buying? Are we in the everything bubble with tech, as good as it will ever get? Well, I've talked about my long-term view of the stock market. If you were to take the ratio of stocks or equities to bonds, We are just now breaking out of a 17-year consolidation. Every time that ratio is broken out of a consolidation, it has had a multi-year bullish market. Now, if you were to then extrapolate or interpolate the size of this consolidation compared to all other consolidations and breakouts that have happened in the past, and I would suggest that you go to Shavako Capital and take a look at his analysis of this, because he's spot on. If you were to interpolate that, that is implying then that this breakout could take stocks on a bull run that may last for 2 decades. Actually, I think it's 22 years or so. And I truly believe that that's exactly what we're in. We're just in the precipice of a multi-decade long bull run. Does that mean we won't have pullbacks? Of course we will. When you start looking at it in the big picture, there'll be little dips, but at the time, those dips will seem like terrible events, where the market comes down for 10 or 15%. But then you look at the big in the big context, it looks like just a little dip, a tick. And that's what they are. So do you buy the dips? That's one strategy. Some of the strategies are going to be some of those dips will be bigger than others. So it really comes down to your personal level of risk, your tolerance and your capacity for risk. Thomas Skirpstunas. Ernie, what are you drinking? Water or something else? That is water. Always have my hydro flask. You can hear the ice in there. This is the 40-ounce version. I do 2 or 3, sometimes 4 of these a day. Oh, by the way, I don't drink alcohol. Every once in a while I have a beer or some wine in company, but I never get drunk. Been drunk maybe twice in my entire life. Not a fan of it. I'd rather smoke weed. Actually, I'd rather not smoke weed these days. I'd rather just vape or do some edible. Or do the tincture. This doesn't really get you high. This is primarily CBD. Ernie, you bought my Bitcoin at 5,300, watched it go up to 19,500, then sold again at 5,300. Did you lose money and lose a penny or gain? I would consider buying back around 1,500. What do you think? Ernie, I bought my Bitcoin at 5,300, watched it go up to 19,500, then sold again at 5,300. Didn't lose a penny or gain. I don't understand why you held it that long. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know what kind of advice to give you, Austin. Then again, I'm not really qualified to give anybody advice. So, because I am not a registered financial advisor. But I have to wonder why you would have held it that long and then got out. Why didn't you sell when it was up, 100, 200, 300%? Or at least take some of the profits to lock in those gains. Austin Nakamoto, laughing out loud, Charlie Lee. Yeah, he is a tool. Charlie Lee is a tool. And I hope Charlie Lee at some point gets a snippet of this. Charlie Lee, I believe that you are a faker. You're a criminal. You have strung along literally millions of people in your malfeasance. And then you're doubling down while you're sitting there on top of that pile of cash that you hold, that you sold right at the very top. It was really a brilliant move, though. But you are a criminal. You're a bastard. You're a fucktard. Seriously. Charlie Lee is a fucktard. A big fucktard. Anybody that can do that to other people and then sit there and then pretend that he is their savior or good guy is evil. Charlie Lee is evil. How's that? Sorry, Ernie, been busy. Haven't been on YouTube much. Could you explain more about the AI program? Well, it's available on my website, traderofutures.com. It's a neural net artificial intelligence system that we've programmed various trading philosophy and then trained it with literally hundreds of chart patterns, candle patterns, volume patterns. It is also then interpolated and or interpreted and developed its own patterns, combines all of these so that it then looks at futures, forex, and stocks, at least 20 years of data, and can look at them in an instant and then identify patterns that are about to happen. So it's very interesting. Only about 40%, I think, of the setups that we put out there actually trigger. And so what it's looking at is if this happens, so it's looking and it's projecting in the future and it sets something up. If that happens, then it says we're going to be entering into a very high probability setup. And then it picks a target and everything's statistically based. So that's essentially what it does. And we have programmed into it certain parameters. The idea now is multiple non-correlated strategies. That's your hedging, your risk management, along with a time window of about 4 days, 4 sessions after the setup has been triggered. Setups are only good for that session. If they do not happen within that session, you throw it away. Go on to the next one. If the trade hits somewhere in that 4-day window, then it's up to you how you're going to manage that winning trade. If it doesn't within that 4-day window, you just get out. That might be with a profit or not. 80% of the time it will be with a profit. That's pretty much it. All right, lost my place here. There we go. Would I invest in MVIS? I have no idea what that is. I wish I could answer you, Terry, but I don't know what MVIS is. Not a big investor in stocks. Some ETFs. I may be looking at cannabis ETFs, although not right now. Also, you may notice that I've said that cannabis stocks would drop right after October 17th, I think it was. I said they would drop hard, and they have. I think that they'll consolidate at least the MJ, which is the marijuana ETF, the pot stock ETF. Looks at about the 30 biggest companies in that market. Will consolidate probably around 25, 24. A lot of people were telling me it would never get below 30 again, and it did. Why do you doubt me? When it's clearly recognizable that I am a genius, I can foresee this. If I was a real genius, I would be betting on all this stuff every single time with, and then just go all in. No, I'm just kidding. And then I'd have billions of dollars and own an island. I do it because it's fun. And I'm just out here to help people. And also to finance other businesses, pay my bills, that sort of thing. Basically, my biggest goal is to be independent. And I've been independent now for, 20-something years. It's a great feeling not having to drive to work. I couldn't imagine being a slave to somebody else. Man. Chuck A says, small BTC buy order at $1,001 and 501, then sell the bounce because it's destined for zero. Possibly. It's hard for me to imagine, though, with the number of people that hold wallets, that it could go to zero. I think there will always be some use case for it, probably mostly a nefarious means. Extorters, human traffickers, drug dealers, money launderers, people who want to hide their taxes, that sort of thing. So I think there will always be that market. So for that reason alone, there will, Bitcoin will always exist. Erasmus and Netablad. Charlie didn't need to say anything at all about selling LTC, did it anyway, and explained why. Yeah, this is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. He took all the profits and then tried to explain why. The explanation was total bullshit. It was to make him look good in your eyes, and you're falling for it. Nicholas Allen. Does the AI system strictly apply to futures contracts, or can it be applied to options as well? No, you can absolutely trade these things with options. It is not only for futures, but it also for Forex. And we are working on automating our equity version of it. We have put out a few calls with the equities. We aren't quite there yet. It takes a little while. If you saw how this whole thing worked, we have to query the AI. We have to kind of work with it. It's not like it just sits there and spits out the answers to us. So we're trying to automate the equity side of it so that we can get more stocks and ETFs, and then you can play options on that. But you can also play options on the futures, absolutely. And that's a good way to have defined risk and also limit your cost. Nathan says, so realistically, how low do you think Bitcoin will go in November? I don't know about timing. All I know is that it has hit my targets. I still have targets below this. I said that I would start accumulating below 4,000 down to 1,000, progressively getting the amount that I put into it as I get closer to 1,000. That has been my plan all along. I've been not, I haven't hidden that, that I've been completely transparent about that. Thomas, it is ages, the same game. Everybody is seeking gold just past 100 years. It is the smart way to do that. Okay. And people do not look at Dahlia. He has wealth problems from stress, or health problems from stress. He is shaking nonstop. This is the cost of a stressful life. To have billions of dollars to make it is stress, a lot of stress. I agree with that. Just because you have $1 billion doesn't make you a happy person. Although I could imagine myself with $1 billion, and it's hard to imagine not being happy. Of course, that is with my current state of mind. I mean, imagine having that kind of money at your disposal, and you didn't have to go through the hassle of trying to manage it all the time. And you could do things like buy influence or buy an island or, whatever you wanted to do. Of course, you could do that with a lot less money too. Even if you were a 10 millionaire, you could do a lot of things. It's still limited to the extent of what you can do. With $1 billion, you can start being an influencer across regions. Ernie, do you think over-leveraged mortgages, auto loans, student loans, home equity lines of credit that are in the trillions could be the catalyst for another crash? Yeah, I do. I don't know what kind of crash. I don't know if it will be big. It'll certainly be a pullback. I'm not sure how you wipe all that stuff off the books. The best way is through an expanding economy. Chris W. Ernie, I sent you that email a couple of days ago concerning my situation, small accounts and micro contracts. No rush. I'm sure you're busy, of course. Just wanted to let you know. Small accounts. Did I see that? Chris, please resend it, because I'm truly drawing a blank on it, and I apologize. I didn't mean to ignore it, but I get like 600-700 emails a day, and not always. Sometimes it either goes into the junk or mistakenly deleted or whatever, but I don't recall it. Jeff Bezos admits Amazon will go bankrupt. Short it? I haven't heard that. Top of the Boston day, High Voltage says. It's a little dreary out there. I don't know if you can see back there. If Bitcoin, Ali says, if Bitcoin drops to $100, will you buy more? Yeah. What's your last point in your accumulation plan? Well, right now it's at $1,000. I don't have a plan for below that. I don't know if it goes down below. Then I have to reevaluate it and decide whether or not it's dead or not at that point. But the idea is to hold on to it for a while, at least a couple of years. And it's not going to be. It's going to be a lottery ticket for me. If Bitcoin drops to 100, will you buy more? What's the last point in your accumulation plan? Well, as I said, it's about $1,000. Maybe if it goes down below that, maybe I develop another plan. I might start trading around it to try to reduce the cost basis. That's probably what I would do. I would wait for dips, buy those dips, let it come up a couple hundred points, sell, buy, sell, and trying to finance the holdings that I have. EO and Sweeney, Ernie, what was more important, the long-term descending triangle in Bitcoin or the volumetric analysis of Bitcoin for the breakdown? I don't use any chart patterns. I didn't use the long-term descending because the descending triangle, by most people's accounts, did not indicate a drop. Descending triangles are supposed to be a bullish pattern, a bullish chart pattern. So obviously, the descending triangle failed, big failure. And all those people that followed it, thinking that traditional technical analysis would allow them to see the promised land, you are also fails. Descending triangle, my ass. Of course, you saw that on CNBC. Those charlatans, shills. Mark Burbot. All right. How you doing, Mark? Good afternoon, Ernie. How are you? Hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day, and I am. Thank you for your truly unbiased views, logical thinking. Great to hear from your live stream. Well, thank you very much for the shout out. I appreciate that. Thomas says again, Ernie, first was Napster, and then we have BitTorrent. Yes, all of those decentralized applications that failed. BitTorrent music and film industry distributed. Now it's time to disrupt money for that is Bitcoin. So it's possible without banks. And no, I don't think it is because people don't trust it. Decentralized applications simply don't work with our culture. Also, there are no companies out there that have figured out how they're going to have an ROI by launching a decentralized app, unless it's on a private network. A public decentralized app no one's figured out how to make money off of it. It's simple as that. I suppose you could go the route of support. So you launch it, let it be out there. You don't collect any of the revenue. What you do then is provide support on the use of it. That would imply, though, that you would have a platform. Luke, wow, this stream is amazing and sobering. Thank you so much, Ernie. You're deeply respected by yours truly. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Jan, how you doing, Jan? That's right. Charlie is a San Francisco weasel. We know who he is. It's absolutely true. I just cannot believe that anyone believes this asshole. Total and complete asshole. I said it, a fucktard. He is a criminal. He has brought so many people, he has ruined so many people's lives. Chuck, how you doing, Chuck? Ernie, will you have an interview with your AI coder on the channel? No, you'll never meet our coder. You'll never meet my partner. Sorry, that's just the way it has to be. Frank Run, how can you buy IOTA or Ethereum if Bitcoin goes to zero? You can't, because they're all shit coins. 96, I'm going to go up, 98% of all the altcoins out there are frauds. Complete frauds. Ponzi schemes. That's it. Misdirected or maldirected. Crypto Shill says, and Craig Wright, you and Craig Wright are very similar. He is into making BHC be within the law, neutral money, which won't happen. It may happen over time because the government right now has a very, very negative taste when it comes to cryptocurrencies. It's going to take quite a bit for them to get over that. Quite a bit. I mean, they're spending most of their time running after the fraudsters, prosecuting people, prosecuting organizations. And right now, it seems like a never-ending task. So until that situation changes, I just don't see it happening. Joe B. Ernie, how can you comment on miners' cost versus the price? Oh, I'm sorry. Can you comment on miners' cost versus the price? And can there be a total shutdown of the system because of the lack of miner support due to the miners at a loss? Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of these miners are being financed. A lot of them have hedged their positions with Bitcoin futures by shorting them so they can weather that storm. Some aren't so smart, and they are dropping out of the game because their operational costs are just overtaking them. So there's going to be a point where a significant portion of those miners are going to go away, maybe 70 or 80% of them, and then we're going to have a slightly better field. But still, the miners are under the control of whales and exchanges and so forth, and they are a principal part of the centralization. That's right, I did say that, centralization of Bitcoin. From a governance point of view, and in many other points of view, it is a centralized system, even though it's touted as a decentralized system. Adway. It's a sale. I can't believe it. It's a sale. Yes. Ernie, will you ever take any live calls? Well, I have taken live calls, but from people that know me. Not too often. I might do that in the future, but it's a little bit too much to manage. I'm doing this by myself. If I had somebody that was helping me, then, to screen the calls, that might be okay. Frank says, the only currency or ledger that guarantees a worldwide settlement is Bitcoin. Wait when EU banks start fighting with UK and the US banks. I know. Hope is eternal, Frank. You hear me, Frank? Miners have stopped supporting Bitcoin price. That's why the drop is gaining momentum. Yeah, they're probably not even bothering with transactions. They figure, trying to create a Bitcoin is more trouble than it's worth. Crypto Shill. Craig Wright is slowly killing Bitcoin. I think it will reach 1,000 and the miners will abandon it for BCH. Why go from one piece of shit to another piece of shit? Bitcoin or BCH or Bitcoin Cash SV, is that the new fork? Raziel, Craig doesn't have that power. He just wants fame, so he takes the blame. If one person truly is doing all the damage to Bitcoin, then it has failed. Good point. Mr. Wright is giving up a huge opportunity to buy low. And thanks, bro. Skeletor. Hey, Ernie. I don't know if you've already talked about it. Yesterday's phone call with Jacob and the new development with the creepy porn lawyer. Was it a setup? No, it was not. The creepy porn lawyer is actually a creepy porn lawyer. He is trying his best to deflect. He is a serial liar. He is a maniacal sociopath. He is an abuser of women. Just an all-around scumbag. He is everything that we say he is. And we have the proof. Bitcoin started at 8 cents. That, by the way, is a slight, very, very slight peer into other endeavors of mine. Bitcoin started at 8 cents. So I'm looking for a double bottom at 8 cents. That's a good one. I got it. Nathan asks, does your embodiment system cover cryptos? Now, we considered doing cryptos. The problem is that we weren't able to find enough data or any one particular exchange that could represent other exchanges. So it's virtually impossible to apply this because there's too much fractionalization within Bitcoin or any crypto. So if not, does your volume profile course work on it? Yeah, it does, of course. I think it works very well. I mean, volume profile is agnostic to any kind of security. It works on anything. Your embodiment system is 80% accurate. What percent of accuracy does volume profile provide? Volume profile is not a strategy. It is simply a way to analyze the structure of a market. So then you can develop strategies on top of that. So volume profile is 100% accurate, if you want to put it that way. It tells you exactly where demand is and where demand is not. Now, then it's up to you then to overlay some strategy on top of that. Now, I've suggested many different strategies, but volume profile in of itself is only an analytical tool. But it is the best analytical tool because it encompasses both price and volume in one indicator, telling you exactly where supply and demand is, where the market finds value and where it does not find value. That is indispensable information. But I've often said that that is only 20% of the equation. The rest of it is a fundamental view of the market. What is your fundamental bias that then you would apply to that volume profile and therefore to a strategy that you overlay on it? Sapoko. How come you didn't see coming the bull run in 2017? I recognize you have strong analytical skills for day trading, but I'm not sure. No, actually, my skill is longer term. And I did see the bull run. As a matter of fact, I called it all the way through. And I said that it was a bubble. I recognize it being a bubble, actually, before most people even thought of it as a bubble. And that was probably in late June, August, September, when the fever started to build on the idea that futures would bring Bitcoin to nirvana and would usher in all this Wall Street money. That's when I said this. Yes, it is in a bubble. I had no idea where it would stop, but I did know. Well, actually, I did. What I meant to say is, from a time point of view, I had an idea when it would stop. From a peak, I didn't know, because no one can predict a bubble. It can go to infinity. But I did say, well in advance, that it would happen the day they introduce futures. And go back and take a look at it, December 17th. That is the day, the highest point that Bitcoin hit, the day that futures were introduced. And I explained completely why. So you're wrong, Nathan, completely wrong. Unfortunately, I have no way to then refer back to those videos because of my prognostications. Somebody didn't like what I was saying. Tens of thousands of subscribers, 1,100 videos. They compromised me. They stole my identity, wiped out my YouTube account as well as many other assets. And then I had to start all over again. Oh, that wasn't Nathan. That was Sapoko. None. I can't imagine Bitcoin gets reborn with all the asset-based cryptos coming. There are asset-based cryptos. Interesting. How are they going to have a direct tie between the actual purchase of the Bitcoin and the equivalent asset? That I'd like to see. Rafael Quintana. Who you suppose that is behind Craig Wright? Don't know. Don't care. Skeletor. Nice. Hey, This is a great format. Keep it up. Don't be scared to broaden the topics. Markets and political relate. Yeah, I agree 100% that markets and political relate. I do make it my business, literally, to get involved in the political arena. I make quite a bit of money in that arena. It's not something that I can actually talk about. But I will tell you this, that politics, more than anything else, drive the price of the market. They drive the market. And while some people do not want to talk politics, you must have an essential understanding of it if you're going to be a successful trader, particularly in the futures market. Jose P, do you think volume profile can be affected by wash trading or some? No, because volume profile is an accounting for what actually happened in the market. Fuck wash trading. Any update on the guy that hacked you? No, I have an agreement with AT&T. I took a settlement with them. Very large settlement, not nearly as much as I'd wanted, but I wouldn't pursue it. So all I can imagine is that they did whatever they had to do on their end. Yeah, I got that, Nathan. Are you a PI? Wink, wink. Yeah, a kind of a PI, you could say. Not really, not in the traditional sense. But yeah, yes, I get involved in what you might call corporate and governmental espionage and counterintelligence. So that's all I really want to say. Also things like due diligence of mergers and acquisitions, vetting people. Got the goods on Avenatti, creepy lawyer? Cool. Yeah. Yeah, we do. Predictions for 2019. Google buys Hashgraph and Vitalik quits Ethereum and is hired at Facebook. Now, I would say that he's more likely to be hired with Instagram because Facebook is going to start losing money. Fortunately, Instagram is also owned by Facebook, and that will keep them afloat. But Facebook as a platform, I think, is dying. All right. We are at the 1 hour point, and that's all we have for today. I want to remind you that a Black Friday sale is coming on AI setups, the embodiment. That is our alert service for futures and Forex. Only $99 a month if you buy a half a year. And I'll be putting that, I think it may already be up there, but if you buy a half a year or a year, you will get a big discount. Half a year, you get 1 month off. A year, you get 2 months off. And you'll be locked in at that price, which I can guarantee you will be going up significantly. Boots of Leather just got in. What did I miss? You missed me saying adios.